in Pensacola. And what Nicholas did is drew this white line here, and that is the line of demarcation. That is the stationary front. And there's dry air or drier air north of it, and you got the moist air here, and so that's the boundary that's the focus for all this heavy precipitation here tonight, Nicholas.
And I think that this is also interesting that you've seen how this band, and I'm going to redraw this just to be super clear with it. There's the start of it there, and let me get another loop here. Notice the difference, how this band of storms is just now starting to creep south. So we could be working our way towards a little relief, especially if you are in areas like Gonzales or just north of Pensacola. If you're in Milton right now, you're fine. And if you're in Molino, you're fine. But areas in northern Pensacola, talking Ferry Pass, Brent, Ensley, Gonzales, and so on, all the way up to Cantonment. Thankfully, it looks like some of the rain is ending for you. Will we see more? It's possible. It's really hard to tell. We're going to have to watch and see if we have any more of these storms that form along this little line that I have drawn here. But it's just going to keep coming for now, and we have to be ready for it. Thankfully now, the situation over Pensacola Bay Bridge, which is that camera that you're seeing right now, active, constant lightning, just near constant lightning. Now in downtown Pensacola, the rain situation is calming down slightly. However, Gulf breeze, it is an intense, heavy rain situation right now where you're dealing with a very high rain rate. Same thing at NAS Pensacola, same thing in Gonzales, or excuse me, same thing in Warrington there. And this is a relatively populated area. You know, we have a lot of military people around the Naval Air Station, and there's just a lot of rain falling right now. There's a lot of apartment complexes over there, a ton of apartment complexes over there near Warrington and NAS Pensacola. So a lot of stuff going on there right now. I want to read this tweet real quick from the National Weather Service in Mobile. It says, life-threatening situation continues for West Pensacola. Life-threatening flooding ongoing in Warrington, downtown, and West Pensacola, with likely well over 1 foot of rainfall falling. Flash flooding is also likely occurring across most of the metro Pensacola area. That's exactly what we have been saying. There is that sign on 110. Flash flood warning in effect. This is a flash flood emergency for the city of Pensacola, the city of Gulf Breeze, and down to NAS Pensacola. This is a serious situation. Checking in on you in Gulf Breeze. I know it's a very loud situation there right now where just constant lightning and very, very, very heavy rain. And I'm curious to see, I'm going to pop the velocity product to see if there's any just gusty winds. It looks like we might have gustier winds near NAS Pensacola right now. But right now, not seeing too much. Checking in on Baldwin County. We've had these little areas of rotation, and thankfully they don't look too strong right now. Maybe some gusty winds happening in Baldwin County as well. Now we're starting to see a bit of heavier rain in Baldwin County. Loxley and Robertsdale, it's been raining for a little while now. We've been on for about an hour. Now, we're sorry, 12:55. And we're like, oh my goodness, time is flying. And we have now a consistent amount of rain that has fallen near Robertsdale and Loxley. And this it keeps on going south. I put this into motion. This is now over Baldwin Beach Express. So south of Buc-ee's there, south of I-10 Buc-ee's looking there. Plenty of rain and plenty of lightning now ongoing. Going back to Pensacola, it is a fire hose. Plenty of rain coming down right now. A little burst of extra rain, and I want to focus on this real quick. It looks like thankfully this is mostly over water, but Avalon Beach community there, maybe Avalon, what is that? That is Florida Town Park. 281, where 281 crosses I-10 there, just north of Escambia Bay and in Escambia Bay. That's the Escambia Bay Bridge right there. And then if you go north, that's 90 going over Escambia Bay, really close to University of West Florida, which is located about right here. So that's University of West Florida. There's another band that has set up there, and that's why I'm just kind of drawing attention to it, because it looks like we could have had a little bit more rain in that area as well, along with something happening near NAS Pensacola and into Warrington, Gulf Breeze, those communities, West Pensacola as well. So a lot of stuff going there. If you are on Ono Island, if you are Grand Lagoon, Ono Island, you're not dealing with anything right now. It has not rained. You have gotten about the craziest lightning show that probably you've ever seen, because a lot of it has been the craziest stuff that we've ever seen in terms of lightning, because there's just been so much of it. But that's everything right now is just off to your east. If you're in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, or specifically Orange Beach, I should say, Perdido Key, we might see rain later on, because like I said, this thing is drifting a little bit to the south. Itinerary Point there also possibly getting a little bit of rain as this thing drifts south. If you're in Foley, could be seeing rains too. Alberta, you're starting to see rain. If you're near Fish River there on County Road 32, you're starting to see a little bit of rain as well. It's very light rain. We're not dealing with any severe stuff at this very second. However, there is the possibility of that, and of course we're going to keep watching all these little rotation areas that we've been watching all day. If you're in Daphne, now you're dealing with rain. Daphne High School, Lake Forest, heavy rain and lightning. All the way across I-10. I bet I-10's a bit of a trip right now over the Bayway.
Yeah, so, not good there. We got a report of a road closure in Gulf Breeze. The Gulf Breeze Police Department says that Gulf Breeze Parkway, that's Highway 98, it's closed between Daniel Drive and Fairpoint Drive. Now, Fairpoint was where we had that possible tornado earlier. So, Gulf Breeze, we've got closed roadways here, and that's going to be Highway 98 is closed right here. Here's Fairpoint Drive and to Daniel Drive. So that's going to be basically right in here. We've got a closure on Highway 98. That is a major thoroughfare. That's a U.S. highway that is closed here in the Gulf Breeze area. So that's going to be right there around across the street from the neighborhood Walmart here in Gulf Breeze. And it's going to be near Gulf Breeze High School. So that's where the closure is. There's a pocket here where Gulf Breeze Parkway is shut down. That's a major road. In fact, looking at it on our traffic tracker, we can actually see that the traffic is not moving in that area. So that would be an indication that we do have a closure of Highway 98. A U.S. highway is closed in Gulf Breeze because of this flash flood emergency. And that flash flood emergency is not just in Pensacola, but it also extends down towards Gulf Breeze and Pensacola Beach.
Yeah, and I wanted to I was just thinking about some of those cameras. I know we had a camera that was in Gulf Breeze as well. That may be something that we want to take a look at.
Some of those here tonight.
Also, I just wanted to note there's been a big increase in lightning now in Baldwin County, similar to what we saw over there in Pensacola earlier. And still Pensacola, you're just getting plenty of lightning as well. So, and yeah, this might mess the graphics up a little bit, but I'm actually going to pull in our traffic tracker. And we're going to start rolling with that as well, because it's going to be something that we need to be thinking about as well. Let me pull this in for us so we can start using traffic tracker as well. So it should give us some kind of read of what's going on in Pensacola. So now, granted, it is
1 a.m.
1 a.m. in 3, 2, 1. Good morning. You're watching Fox 10 News. It is 1 a.m. and we are tracking a tornado, tracking a flash flood emergency in Pensacola. And we're having a little trouble seeing some of the closures and stuff. They're not coming up yet. But one thing you are noticing is the slower speeds. And that's what Traffic Tracker is going to pick up on this here. Slower speeds even on 110, because you just can't go the normal speed. So if I follow 110 up, if I follow 110 up here, I-10 to 110, also dealing with plenty of slowdowns now, because it's too difficult to drive down there. So I'm going to quickly switch back to the radar here. I'm going to occasionally flip back and forth and check some of these things as well. Also, one thing that we're noticing now, I'm going to swap over to our storm risk for, let's see, I need to check, because we just got a new storm risk issued for tomorrow. So this is going to be during the day tomorrow. And
that's today, right?
Yeah, so Yes, today starting at 7 a.m. technically, we will we'll be in, once again, a level 2 slight risk just for pretty much our area. And that's because this frontal boundary is sitting in our area and it is going to cause issues there. Getting back to the flash flood emergency situation here, because it is a very serious situation.
They actually shrunk the risk back a little bit for later today, which is good. But we're hopeful that we'll start to get some breaks in the rain around Pensacola soon. That has yet to materialize. We're still seeing a high concentration of lightning here around Pensacola Naval Air Station and Gulf Breeze. So a lot of lightning here. It is starting to thin out a little bit here downtown Pensacola and back up to the north and west. So we're starting to see some streaks of heavy rain and also some streaks where the rain is a little bit lighter, and then we can follow that line back into Baldwin County. Now, fortunately, right now, we're not under a flash flood warning in Baldwin County. That could change because what we've been seeing with this kind of setup is that the rain keeps training over the same area. We're looking at a long radar loop right here, and this is what Pensacola's been dealing with for about the past 3 hours or so, starting at about 10 p.m., and Brent starting to have to evacuate now. Brent, Florida here. This is in the Pensacola area. Carpenter Creek is beginning to rise. And so we also have a report of 3 to 4 feet of water in Gulf Breeze, but Carpenter Creek on the rise in Brent. So people are starting to have to evacuate there. And this is the concern that we had. That's why we went on the air at midnight with the potential of flash flooding. Somewhere after there, within about 5 or 10 minutes, the National Weather Service issued a flash flood emergency, and we're getting more rain in the headwater drainages of what's happening around Pensacola, and that's what's creating the potential for some flooding in Pensacola and in Brent, too, with Carpenter Creek now jumping out of its banks and getting onto the roadways. This is Fairfield Drive right there near I-110.
That's standing water.
Yeah.
Look at the water coming off of the streetlights.
Right. You can just see extremely heavy rain. I mean, and nobody's on the road, which is great, and that's what needs to continue to happen. We don't want anybody to drive tonight here in the Pensacola area, anywhere in Pensacola, Brent, Warrington, around the Naval Air Station, Gulf Breeze, Pensacola Beach. All these areas are off limits. We're not under a flash flood warning. We're under a flash flood emergency. This is extremely dangerous. So travel late tonight, not advised. In fact, no, just don't do it. And until this rain starts to lighten up. Now, I'm loving this here up near Bellevue right now. We got a little bit of a break. We're starting to see some gaps after a solid wall of red on radar over parts of Pensacola. So that might be a bit of an improvement there. We are looking at that heavier rain band starting to shift a little south. And so that's taking the heavy rain now. It's putting it over to the Naval Air Station, and it's keeping it over Warrington, but it's starting to thin it out around Myrtle Grove and Bellevue. And up here along 110, where we actually have that live picture, that's not the heaviest rain that we have in the area. That's actually moderate rain going on there in comparison to what we're seeing in other spots like on the south side and on the west side of Pensacola. And anytime we start to see rainfall totals, the threshold for the Gulf Coast, 8 to 10 inches. Once we start seeing more than 8 to 10 inches, especially in a 6-hour time period, that's when we know, hey, all bets are off. We could see some flash flooding. We have really good drainage for a lot of our roadways here in the Deep South. This is one of the rainiest parts of the United States, but no drainage system can handle the amount of water that Mother Nature's been throwing at us here overnight and into the early morning hours here on this Friday. So looking at it at the airport, Pensacola International Airport, flooding at the intersection of 9th and College. So we've got flooding reported there, very close to the airport. I mean, you can see the runway right here. What Nicholas did, he took the radar and he reduced the opacity of the radar, and that allowed our base maps to pop up, and you can see specific areas like Pensacola Airport standing out. And on the west side of the airport, got reports of flooding going on.
This is actually, I've zoomed into Carpenter Creek, actually.
Right, okay.
That is right here. Let me annotate this.
Is it right there?
That's it.
Okay, yeah.
That's right Carpenter Creek. Here. So that was that report that we saw there. And thankfully now, in that area, since I have the opacity still up a little bit, you can see that that is the area, and let me make it a little darker for us, that is the area that now the rain is slowing down.
Yeah, and so the problem with creek flooding and river flooding, that may still be increasing, even if the rainfall rate is lower. So initially the problem is always on the streets. But when the rain keeps coming for hours on end, then it starts to fill up the ditches and the streams, and then the creeks and rivers start to jump out of their banks. And sometimes there's a lag between when a creek starts rising and the rainfall. It starts to happen a little later after it's been raining for a while, and it may keep raining, and the river may continue to rise after the rain is over. So that's a lot of times why we see a long duration on a flash flood. Right now, the heavy rain is where we don't want it. Gulf Breeze, Pensacola Beach, and the Pensacola Naval Air Station. We've had reports of a resident being flooded here at the Pensacola Naval Air Station, so that may be where that marker is right there with our storm report. This is the mouth of Pensacola Bay, and this is the Pensacola Naval Air Station, and this is Warrenton, and still we're in the red here tonight in parts of Pensacola. We need to get this thing to break up a little bit and get lighter, but there's just no sign of it just yet. This is a more favorable sign over Pensacola proper.
Yeah, that camera is from about where I've zoomed in to where the map is.
Right, so right there is Cervantes Street. And we've got some heavy rain there, but it is a little lighter on the north side of downtown Pensacola, so that is a positive thing right there. And this is just terrible. I mean, we've got a flash flood emergency. It's about 1 in the morning now here in Pensacola. Fortunately, not a lot of people out driving around, which is great. If you're in a low-lying area, you need to be seeking higher ground. But if you're in an area that's secure, your best bet is to stay put right now.
Yeah.
These thunderstorms right now are not tornadic. They're just heavy rain thunderstorms, and that in itself is a bad thing, Nicholas.
Yeah, and so thankfully it looks like the rain is slowing down in Pensacola a little bit. So this camera is from Cervantes Street, which is really this 110 in Cervantes Street. So that is located, I'm going to circle it on the map right here. That's where that camera is located. And if we can take it full, I just want to see really quickly what's going on there. Woo! Okay. So it looks like, thankfully, there's not a ton of ponding on 110 right now, but I'm curious as to what it looks like under there as well. Because, I mean, look at all the lightning, probably some ponding on those low-lying areas, and that is as downtown Pensacola. That's downtown Pensacola pretty much. And there's a lot of rain going on right now, but thankfully it is calming down. Now, going back to the storm tracker here, NAS Pensacola is really still in a ton of heavy rain. I'm looking at there's still consistent lightning. You can still see the burst of lightning here over NAS Pensacola. We saw that storm report of water in what was likely a house. So this is just continuing and continuing on here. And just to reiterate one of the National Weather Service reports, and I'm going to have to pull it up. I'm going to read it. 3 to 4 feet of water in Gulf Breeze. 3 to 4 feet of water in Gulf Breeze. So that is an astronomical amount of water. We have a flash flood emergency update, expanding the flash flood emergency to extend upward into Ensley and Ferry Pass, Bellevue. Why? Because we saw those thunderstorms that moved through those areas as well. It will also include a small portion of Santa Rosa to include the Oriole Beach community, which, if you remember, there's this little, there's a few little areas that we're dealing with training thunderstorms as well there. Let's go to the loop. And this is going to be a 5, actually no, we've been on for an hour. Let's go 6-hour loop of the thunderstorms. That's what's moving through Pensacola right now. And as you can see, they've started training, they started redeveloping, and now it's just been a constant flow of rain, a fire hose, of rain going into Pensacola, still in downtown Pensacola. Plenty of lightning ongoing. So you just need to be vigilant. You need to be aware. If you are in a low-lying area and you are seeing flooding, you need to move to higher ground. Thankfully, in Pensacola proper, we are now starting to see a bit of a decrease in the rain. Does that mean that we could have this thing that's near Seminole right now, if this thing will let me move, does that move towards Pensacola, we will see. We'll have to wait and see. But for right now, there is a bit of a lull in rain in downtown Pensacola. Gulf Breeze, no. Gulf Breeze, it's continuing to rain very heavily right now. Same thing down towards Pensacola Beach. That's where we had those flood reports. And you can see these little icons that I actually don't know what's on those icons. But those are our flash flood report icons, and I can click on one of those and get information onto when those things were issued in 1048, and we mentioned these, serious road flooding, and then we had another one, vehicles stranded, and that was earlier. And these are the official reports that have gone to the National Weather Service. We're zooming out, and we're kind of resetting here because we have now a flash flood warning that's going to come for parts of central Baldwin County.
Yeah, Baldwin County. Baldwin County under a flash flood warning now. And because it's a flash flood emergency, we're also getting new areas that are going to be added, Inslee, Ferry Pass, Bellevue. And so we're going to have more phones going crazy from flash flooding, possibly from that flash flood warning in Baldwin County, but without a doubt, this may alert some users here, smartphone people who have smartphones here, even if they have their alerts turned down, they're going to go off for that flash flood emergency that's expanding here in Escambia County. Let's look at Baldwin County right now, where we're now looking at what will be a flash flood warning here in central Baldwin County. We've got training thunderstorms here. So Loxley, Robertsdale, Summerdale, Elsinore. We're looking at a possible flash flood warning imminently being issued by the National Weather Service. And this rain stretches all the way back to Spanish Fort and the Malbus area and back here into Mobile. That's the source region for this storm. We've got a heavy storm right now developing over the Fox and News studios. We can hear the rain on the roof right now, and we're seeing some streaks of some heavy storms. A little bit more southward nature to it, starting over western Mobile County. And if this goes according to plan, this will all eventually end up over the Gulf of Mexico here tonight, but it's been taking its sweet time to develop in that direction. Flash flood emergency for Pensacola, which is a step above a flash flood warning. That means life-threatening flash flooding. We have a flash flood warning for Baldwin County. We've seen about 3 inches of rain or so right in through here in a short period of time. And it's not just the totals of rain, but it's the rainfall rates that we're seeing tonight that are the big problem. Another thing that Nicholas is highlighting here with the radar, and we did just get that new updated flash flood warning for Escambia County. The number of lightning strikes here in Baldwin County within the last 15 minutes, 1,329. So Baldwin County, you've been looking off to the east towards Pensacola. You've been seeing this crazy light show all night. Now it's on top of you. In Robertsdale, Summerdale, County Road 87, County Road 32, County Road 64, Highway 90, and north of Highway 98 in Baldwin County, epic lightning and very, very heavy rain. And so the flash flood warning for Escambia County, Florida, that was just reissued is now a flash flood emergency and is done to expand that flash flood emergency to include more communities and potential
Jason,
catastrophic threat. Look at that.
I was just saying what I'm actually trying to figure out which one was the flash flood emergency. Pretty much all of Escambia County. That's what I was doing. I was crowding your screen for a second. I didn't mean to do that for you. But so flash flood emergency for Escambia County once again. So.
Yeah, terrible night here, and there's a lot of different lines in here, but the bottom line is if you're in Escambia County, Florida, around Pensacola, Brent, Ferry Pass, or Inslee, don't drive tonight. That includes Warrington and the Pensacola Naval Air Station. I know that we have a lull in the rain right now in downtown Pensacola, but there's no lull at the Naval Air Station. There's no lull in Gulf Breeze, and it's still ongoing in Pensacola Beach. And we could see some of this shifting back over Pensacola. We want it to shift out over the Gulf, I promise you. We don't want this to happen any longer. We're seeing way too much rain. But looking at it, I mean, we've got a couple of months worth of rainfall in one night here in Pensacola, and the heaviest of the rain is over Perdido Bay now, so that is something that could be a little bit more of a positive. But what we've continued to tell you is that we've saw more rain up in the headwaters and a little more up into the inland parts of Pensacola, and so that's going to create more drainage problems downstream. And there are areas that, you know, this can be tricky about flash flooding. The rain can stop, and then the water shoots up because it's still running off into the ditches, into the streams, and so the streams and the small rivers are still rising here. I do not expect a big river rise on the Escambia River, for example. That's a big waterway. But some of the local creeks can be the most dangerous in this kind of situation. And now we got to look over to Baldwin County, and we're talking about the Blackwater River area here in Baldwin County. And some of this is over on the headwaters of Fish River. Now, at this point, we haven't seen enough rain in the Fish River watershed to cause problems down around Magnolia Springs and Magnolia River and Fish River, but we got to watch it. And there's a lot of heavy rain here in Loxley and Robertsdale, and the ground here is really flat. It's mostly agricultural ground and neighborhoods. And so there's nowhere for the water to go, and we can get roadways flooded really fast here in central Baldwin County because there's just nowhere for that water to go. And we see the storms tracking over towards Mobile right now as well, with that light show still ongoing here tonight, Nicholas.
Yeah, so you're completely right. This is an incredible situation. I've actually been looking at some videos on social media of just people, like, I saw a TikTok of the lightning, because it's just that incredible. It's near constant lightning, one of the most prolific lightning displays that we have seen here. Now, if you're in Robertsdale, Summerdale, out 90 heading towards Escambia County, I'm talking County Road 87, that's the Baldwin Beach Express south of Buc-ee's, getting south if you're heading down, like headed down towards County Road 32 or getting yourself towards the Foley Beach Express. That area is the area that is seeing the largest amount of lightning at this time. Jason mentioned it earlier. So a ton of lightning going on there, and that's thankfully calming down a little bit in Pensacola proper, your downtown Pensacola you're dealing with. Gulf Breeze, you have seen a near constant high reflectivity. By high reflectivity, I mean near constant heavy rain. Thankfully now we have like a few seconds where maybe the rain's lightening up just a little bit, and you can see it kind of in the green. Reflectivity is the product that we're using right now. It says radar, it's reflectivity, and it's essentially the stronger return, the brighter the color, the stronger the return, the heavier the rain. And as you can see, greens meaning light returns, yellows meaning moderate returns, reds meaning heavy returns, and we thankfully are now starting to get out of those heavier returns and into those lighter returns. There's been times where a lot of people have said, you know, this really does look like a bucket of spilled paint. Well, today is the day where it kind of does, and that kind of makes sense. Think of the spilled paint as water, and you're just dealing with water being thrown all over this area like a fire hose, like a fire hydrant left to drain. It is an incredible scene over there in Pensacola. So that, once again, incredible constant lightning over there in Pensacola. It looks like water might have some ponding there on the roads there. I'm eyeballing that camera. You can see the reflection of the lights flashing in there. And then you can see the reflection of the lightning because there's just so much of it. And it now looks like we're having a little bit of intensification of lightning near NAS Pensacola. I know if somebody can tweet, I haven't heard a video of how the thunder is there. And I'll have to look around for one because I'm curious as to how constant the thunder is, because I'm going to be honest, I know I've never probably experienced been in a concentration of that much lightning. I mean, Jason?
Yeah, so when we had the historic flood in Baldwin County, it was April, and it was due to an upper level low, and it wasn't there wasn't this high concentration of lightning, and now you're in a summertime situation, and we got cave values that are really high, so you got a lot more instability, so these cloud tops are a lot taller, and Baldwin County now is where we're seeing that super high concentration of lightning, and wanted to pass along to you, just got a report here in Mary Esther, Florida, of some flooding, so I'm just going to bring it up to you here on my super weather computer iPhone thing. And the westbound lanes of Highway 98 near Roby's Drive are blocked due to a down power line. So that's going to be in Mary Esther, Florida there. So we're monitoring the reports as they come in, whether it be roadways that are blocked and also flooding of rivers and creeks, and also where there's storm damage and power lines down. And what we did here, because it's just such a busy map with all the high reflectivity values and heavy thunderstorms going on, is we turned everything off except the warnings. And so the areas that are outlined here in the maroon coloration here, you can see where the base map changes to a little darker fill. This is going to be, these are all flash flood warnings. So there's a flash flood warning from Daphne to Silver Hill to Loxley, and that'll continue into Summerdale and down towards the Lillian area and also Seminole. Then in Pensacola, we have a flash flood emergency for all of Escambia County. So there is an observed flash flood event ongoing, and it's a little worse on the south side of Pensacola and down to Gulf Breeze from what we've seen, where we have 3 to 4 feet of water and closures of Highway 98 in Gulf Breeze. So I-10, I-110, favorable now that the rainfall rate is temporarily slowed in Pensacola. The heaviest band is where we don't want it, though, down towards Pensacola Naval Air Station. If we could see a little more of a shift, I think that would be a really good thing. We're not wishing the rain on anybody, but if we can get it to move over some areas besides Pensacola, that would be great, because Pensacola's seen about 10 to 15 inches of rain. We could probably handle a couple inches of rain in South Baldwin County if this thing will move through, push on out over to the Gulf. What we've actually noted is that the axis of intensity has actually shifted up from Pensacola a little, and is now centered up in central Baldwin, and that's right along that flash flood warned area. Right now the rain it's a little thinner band here around Daphne, but it's a very wide, broad band covering a large area of the Beach Express, and also Highway 59 and County Road 87. And so we've got some very heavy rainfall ongoing here. Looks like anywhere from, Glass and Spivey Road, Greek Cemetery Road, back across 90 here, down to the south. We're looking at really heavy rain here below Seminole, at Lillian, at County Road 32 is one of the roadways that's in that flash flood warning now here in Baldwin County. We've got Werner Road right there. We've got Hagendorfer Road, Feely Road. A lot of these areas, very, very heavy rainfall going on. And then checking out Bower Road. Now we're over on the Florida side of Pensacola Bay, or in Perdido Bay. And we get over here towards Dog Track Road. Highway 98 is just terrible tonight for travel. There's a flash flood emergency up here for Pensacola. Warrington is a terrible place to be getting heavy rain. That's still ongoing. Looking at heavy rain there, and also heavy rain still like crazy just to the south of Gulf Breeze now. A little lighter rainfall rate in Metro Pensacola and Gulf Breeze. This is the trend we've been hoping for here. Hopefully that will hold and stay with us. So current time right now is 1:24 in the morning. I think that we've thoroughly briefed the situation area wide of the heavy rainfall event that's unfolding here in Pensacola. Flash flood emergency in effect for all of Escambia County south of I-10. That also includes some areas slightly north of I-10. We've got a flash flood warning in Baldwin County. No warnings up right now for Mobile County, and thankfully no tornado warnings right now, but we're going to keep a crew here overnight. We're going to monitor this, and if we see any more new information on the flooding situation, or this intensifies in Baldwin County or Mobile County, or we get reports of a tornado, we'll break right in here on Fox 10 News tonight. When your phones go off, we want to be here for you on Fox 10 News.
On this map, and we're going to continue to see possibly some redevelopment on, as you can see, just south of Pensacola. And then look, it looks like it wants to continue to develop rain into 8 a.m. along this stationary boundary, and then look off to our west. There looks to be another complex of thunderstorms that could be moving in, and that looks like it might go around a similar area. So, long story short, we are going to be dealing with rain for an extended period, possibly off and on, in areas like Pensacola, along I-10, and maybe even now starting to get a little bit more rain in Mobile. Going back to radar, this is a very active situation in terms of just there is so much rain falling, so much lightning. Zooming in, I zoomed in a little fast there. Baldwin Beach Express, south of Robertsdale, 59 south of Robertsdale into Summerdale. Plenty of lightning going on, very heavy rain. This is a loud thunderstorm that has probably woken you up. There is no imminent severe threat. What do you need to be doing? You need to be, if you are in Baldwin County, you are under a flash flood warning right now. So you need to be vigilant. You need to keep your eyes out. You do not need to be traveling. But you don't need to be freaking out or getting extremely worried about what's going on. I know there's a lot of lightning going on, but right now your severe threat is not high. It is just the flooding threat. If you are in Escambia County, it's a different story. You need to be taking action. This is a flash flood emergency for Escambia County. If you're near Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, and down south of Pensacola Beach, this is the flash flood emergency. If you have flooding in your area, if you have flooding near your house, or your apartment complex, you need to be taking action to protect yourself because we have the possibility of water rising in Pensacola as more rain falls through now the morning hours. So this severe thunderstorm watch that is now going to be for our area until 10 a.m. I know we have a lot of things that we're talking about here. A severe thunderstorm watch that's going to be in our area until 10. It's going to be for a complex of severe thunderstorms that is currently located in the vicinity of northeast Texas and northwest Louisiana. And it's going to make its way towards our area over the next several hours. In addition to severe threat, this complex of storms could obviously make the flooding concerns way worse because we have severe flooding ongoing in parts of our area, and we will be closely monitoring that over the next several hours. We're going to take a look at the satellite radar right now. We're going to pull really wide. We have a complex. My goodness. We have a complex of storms racing towards our area. This is going to be a severe threat. It looks like for our area, Jason.
Yep, and it's back in Shreveport, Louisiana, and the Futurecast has been very consistent with this MCS cluster, which we've seen a lot of these MCSs this week. That is an acronym for a mesoscale convective system. Okay, so it's on a mesoscale. It's larger than just a little small complex of showers and storms. And this is all up here around the Red River Valley and on the east side of Dallas, Texas, and back into Shreveport. Now, that's a good ways away. You're looking at it, you're saying that's about 300 miles away right now. We've got flash flooding ongoing. We're just worried about this. Well, this is going to be our problem to deal with tomorrow morning. And so that's why we have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect for tomorrow morning. In our area right now, we just continue to see heavy thunderstorms training over the same areas. That's why we have the flash flood emergency around Pensacola. The axis of moisture is sitting over Baldwin County, and it's a little more electric in Baldwin County, but Pensacola is still getting rocked with a ton of lightning, especially the west side of town. And so this light show just keeps going on. It's shifted a little. It's moved from Gulf Breeze and the east side of Pensacola to the west side of Pensacola and back into the Foley area and Summerdale, Robertsdale, Loxley, Elsinore, Seminole, Lillian. You're getting pummeled by frequent lightning strikes. A lot of this cloud to ground lightning strikes, so it's a great time to be inside. It would be a terrible time to be out driving. We've got a flash flood warning for Baldwin County, flash flood warning and emergency for Escambia County. And some of that heavier rain trying to get over back into Pensacola now. We're really hoping this will find a way to shift out for a little bit so we can get a little bit of a break tonight. It has centered up a little more south of Highway 90, so that's one of the trends we've noted here. We're starting to see this thing shove a little south. And we've seen some of that heavier rain a little more over to Baldwin County and a little less over into Escambia County, Florida, but it's still pretty much ongoing. And we're getting rain in some new areas. So now around Foley, starting to see some showers, Alberta, and we're not getting flooding here in Wolf Bay. We just don't see that kind of thing going on right now. But that, of course, could change as we go through the night if we see this band park over those areas and continue to show that plume of moisture in the same spot over and over again. This is one of the peak areas with heavy rain in Pensacola. This is on the west side of Pensacola, out towards Warrington, around Millview. And this area, including the Pensacola Naval Air Station, has been basically where we've seen the heaviest rain. And that's where we're still seeing the heaviest rain in Pensacola, because the colors on radar are red right here. And these are different levels of reflectivity. Hey, we got a legend up here so you can see it. Green is light. Then you start to get in the yellow, that's moderate to orange. And then we start getting in the reds, and that's when it's super bad. And when you see these darker pixels, that's really heavy rain. We had a lot of that parked over Pensacola for a while. And when you have that going on, that's when your rainfall rates are about 2 to 3 inches an hour. More of that is happening here in Baldwin County than it is over Pensacola. But we're just exacerbating the flood threat in Pensacola, adding another inch or two to the foot of rain that we've seen over the west side of town. Gulf Breeze, still dealing with heavy rain. There's been some reports of flooding on Highway 98. The Fort Pickens Road area and Pensacola Beach, some reports of flooding. And now we just got to continue to keep an eye on Cowpen Creek Road, which is at County Road 87 there, and also Highway 90, and getting down closer to Alberta, where we're seeing that heavier rain in Baldwin County. And that just keeps coming down towards Pensacola. We need to see a shift in this heavy rain and get it moving, get it going somewhere else, but it's all along a stationary front. And with the upper energy in place and the stationary front, we've got the focus for this moisture. Now, what's happening here in Pensacola is off the charts, okay, as far as rainfall and lightning. What's happening in Baldwin County is impressive, but all week we've been seeing this heavy rain in the inland spots, you know, Monroe County, Clark County, Washington County, Conecuh County, Escambia County, Alabama. Now, this stalled front has moved a little. It's a little closer to the coast. And so now it's further south's turn to have to contend with some severe threat, but more importantly, and definitely more seriously right now, the flash flood threat element of this because of the training rain bands that are setting up along this stalled frontal boundary. And looking at it here, look at the lightning cluster here in central Baldwin County and south central Baldwin County and Pensacola. This has not stopped since about 6 or 7 p.m. When we joined coverage, we were on air because of a tornado warning, and then we started Fox 10 News a little late, about 9:15. The live shot from Orange Beach, looking back at the storm over Pensacola, just showed one of the most amazing lightning displays I've ever showed on television. And now that's still happening, you know, but it's a Baldwin County thing. So it's roaring with the lightning and thunder here from Seminole to Lillian to Alberta to Somerdale to Robertsdale. We're all thinking about building an ark tonight. Now we get back over here over Pensacola and the west side of town, still seeing very, very heavy rainfall down to the Pensacola Naval Air Station, and our rain rates are extraordinary. They're exceeding 2 inches in some locations, so we're up around 3 inches per hour with some of the precipitation rates that are happening. And when you get 3 inches of rain in an hour, there's no real way a roadway or a ditch or a drainage area can withstand that amount of water coming down that fast. This keeps happening hour after hour, you get a flash flood warning. This keeps happening longer than that, and then you see a flash flood emergency. And there's not much difference. A tornado emergency is when we have a large confirmed tornado on the ground. Okay, a flash flood emergency is when it's not just that we're seeing things that indicate flash flooding will start or Doppler radar indicates flash. It means it's happening. We've got ongoing flash flooding, and that's why we saw the flash flood emergency issued for the Pensacola area here tonight with these crazy rainfall rates that are going on in the area. We've seen the rivers, we've seen streets turn into streams, we've seen highways turn into rivers here tonight in Pensacola. So it's just been really off the charts with what we've seen with the lightning and the heavy rainfall going on, and we've been covering it continually here on Fox 10 News. So we're not currently under a tornado warning in any spot, so it's just a flood threat right now, and that in itself can be a really bad thing. We are starting to see the rain band shift a little. It's still happening in Pensacola, but it's now over the west side of town and Baldwin County here, and we've seen it change a little in Baldwin County too, starting to shift down towards Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. and leaving it a little drier on the upper end. Had some real heavy rain up around Gateswood earlier this evening, so things are starting to improve there. There's a ton of instability out over the Gulf of Mexico that's fueling all this, and there is that stalled front. So the air's drier to the north, and it's moist to the south, and then it's very unstable here along this boundary too. And we want to take a look at our live picture because we've seen the lightning really popping and firing here, and this is that same shot we had from Gulf Shores. Now we've got the camera pointed a little north, and look at the light show. I mean, this is a thing. So sometimes we'll have a distant thunderstorm, and we're thinking, hey, let's pop this up for 10 seconds along a newscast, and maybe we'll get lucky and catch one lightning strike. And there have been times where this thing has just been flashing like you're in some kind of a disco strobe thing going on, like that right there. And so you've got crazy lightning going on here in Orange Beach here tonight, and the rain's just started down at the beach, but you know, it's the distant lightning, and you can see it from a long ways off at night because it's dark, so the light travels very effectively. You can see these distant thunderstorms ongoing. A lot of different layers to this, but the primary issue right now is monitoring the flash flooding threat that is going on in the area with the flash flood emergency in Escambia County and that flash flood warning in Baldwin County, and then maybe some storms tomorrow morning, Nicholas.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of zoom back into this because it looks like we're starting to get a little bit heavier rain once again near NAS Pensacola. Well, the heavy rain hasn't really stopped there in NAS Pensacola, but maybe some heavy rain now in downtown Pensacola, as well as these storms now continue to move from northwest to southeast. Looking at the radar full screen, if you're in Pensacola, you're seeing more orange, you're seeing more red, and I know that's a lot because you've already seen a lot of orange and a lot of red. The video and the picture that we're seeing of roads being turned into rivers, and this is going to continue happening. Once again, you have no reason to be going out at all in Pensacola. This is a true flash flood emergency. Also in Gulf Breeze, you are continuing to get very, very heavy rain. Pensacola Beach as well. Now, thankfully, if you are in Navarre, you have just avoided this. Same thing here. If we go north, Milton, you have also just avoided this north into Santa Rosa County and then getting into northern Escambia County. Molino, you actually had a little bit of a threat earlier, but now that has shifted south. Atmore, you are fine this morning, now at 208. Gateswood Community, we had tornado possible in that area earlier. Now you are fine. It now looks like the rain has moved out of the Malbus area, Daphne, Spanish Fort, 18198, I-10. That area, Loxley maybe now getting out of the rain. Could we see more development? That is possible. Fairhope, now lighter rain, going on. Fairhope South down to County Road 32 and down to Fish River. Heavier rain there, but no flooding threat down there. We might see a little swelling of Fish River just because all the water's kind of starting to pour down, but nothing compared to what we're seeing right now in Pensacola. If you are in Gulf Shores proper, you are now getting a little bit of light rain and quite the light show to your north. Orange Beach now getting heavier rain, but not the flooding threat just yet because you haven't seen the rain earlier. Wolf Bay as well. Alberta, you're starting to see a little bit more rain. It's been a little bit more consistent. You're probably getting, you have a lot of lightning going on right now. There's a lot of thunder going on as well. It's a lot for sure. County Road 32. County Road 32 kind of truncates and then goes south, County Road 95. That area, when it kind of gets close to Baldwin Beach Express and past Baldwin Beach Express, Copen Creek Road there, south of Elsinore Central there, that's where we're dealing with a possible flooding threat in Baldwin County, not to the level that it is at in Escambia County, Florida. But there is still a little bit of flooding threat, and thankfully it looks like those storms are moving out of Baldwin County, and then they're sadly moving in to Pensacola. So here we are, West Pensacola, still dealing with plenty of rain. Warrington, I can't imagine what it's like over there right now. And I've been monitoring social media, seeing these incredible videos of just flowing water in streets. And this is why you just cannot be out in a car. It's just not a good option. One of the reasons we're just trying to kind of keep you updated here. We want to let you know what's coming at you in Pensacola, so you can kind of plan. You need to know what's going on. Pensacola, you do have more rain coming at you. So this is not over yet. And this is not to kind of, eventually, yes, this rain will end, but it looks like we're going to have some extended time where we are dealing with more rain. Once again, just north of Alberta there, north of 98, we are dealing with some of the most intense lightning that we have seen here. Look at the ponding of the water on Pensacola Bay Bridge. The lightning, the ponding, the spray as cars are moving on Pensacola Bay Bridge. If you can avoid being on the road, please do. Also, it looks like there are no lights on the bridge, because it has periods where it's getting really dark. Even though so I'm a little interested as to why that's occurring. I don't know. I haven't been on that bridge in a while. I don't know if the lights are on in that section. But as you can see, when it really goes dark, and after the lightning strikes, it gets really dark, and you're seeing the little sheen of water on the bridge there. This bridge is taken a lot of water so far. NAS Pensacola has also taken a ton of water. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go onto my other computer and check out, see if I can get any reports of rainfall. I'll have to look at that in a second, because right now it looks like they're probably getting an insane amount of rainfall. You saw the sheets of rain moving in front of those cars' headlights. If you can avoid being on the roads this morning, please do so. It's 2:12 in the morning. If you can avoid doing it because it's 2:12 in the morning, that's fantastic. I know there's going to be a lot of impact to the day tomorrow in Pensacola. There's going to be impact because we're still going to be dealing with flooding into the morning commute hours for now your Friday. So there's going to be impact there. Looks like I've got a new picture in there. I'm going to take a look at that. So be prepared for that. Be prepared. You're going to have to probably delay your commute tomorrow if it can happen. Because you cannot go into these flooded roadways at all. And Jason, this is probably going to be a historic situation.
No doubt about it. Pensacola right now, flash flood emergency. Travel is not advised. Heavy rainfall, especially on the west side of town. Epic flooding going on here in the Pensacola area, including Millview, Warrington, West Pensacola, and Pensacola Naval Air Station. We're also seeing the flooding around Gulf Breeze and down to Pensacola Beach and the Fort Pickens Road area. The rainfall rates, we're seeing a lot more yellow than we are red in Pensacola. This is not necessarily good, but it's a start. Okay, and now we're looking at the heavier rainfall rates really more on the far western side of town and here in Baldwin County for us too. So we've got rain that's still coming down for us in Pensacola, but we've also got rain that's coming down for us here in Baldwin County too. And the rainfall rates that are about 1 inch to 2 inches an hour. The highest we've seen is about a 3 inch per hour rain rate. And we saw that for a little while in Baldwin County within about the past hour near County Road 32 in the Blackwater River area. Pensacola, we had that ongoing for several hours. We picked up about 7 inches of rain in about 2.5 hours time around Pensacola there just before midnight tonight. And so the water comes down so fast with the rain that the drainage just can't handle all that water and all that rain. And you can see that banding starting to shift a little bit. We'd like to see it just move right out over the Gulf because the Gulf can handle the water, but the land areas are done. We don't need any more out there tonight. Over on the Mobile County side, it looks like we're in a big-time lull. We picked up about 1.5 inches of rain in Mobile County. It's been really a cakewalk in Mobile compared to what's happening there in Baldwin County. And as we look at Pensacola right now, there's still a lot of lightning going on. There's still some heavy rain, especially on the west side of town. And this is a long radar loop. So we started it and we got it moving really slow. This is a 3-hour radar loop, and it's been persistent with the heavy rain in Pensacola for the last 3 hours. And this is not just over the last 3 hours. If we back it up and say we go 6 hours or we go 7 hours or even 8 hours, pretty similar in the amount of rain that we've seen. So we're backing it up to 8 p.m. and running it now. This is a 6-hour loop, and you can see what's going on. Look at the flashing here. These are the lightning strikes. These little circles are the storm reports, and the rain's just been pulverizing Pensacola. Now we see the core of crazy lightning that was sitting over Pensacola for about 5 hours. That's now here in Seminole and a little bit more over into Baldwin County. And we could have some flooding there as well for us here in Baldwin County, especially along the Blackwater River area. Looks like the Styx River drainage is in a little better shape. And Fish River, only the headwaters of Fish River seeing heavy rain presently. We have seen some rain there, but I don't think it's to the point where Fish River is going to be out of hand. Now, of course, things could change if this rain stays steady. And we're starting to see some of that heavier rain now in Foley, so it's starting to get into the Magnolia River watershed some there, and also down like Soldiers Creek, Wolf Creek, Wolf Bay, that kind of area. Seeing the heavy rain. Lillian, you're getting some really heavy rain now. Millview, Florida, we're still in the red, and this may be one of the spots that just has the ultimate totals out of this whole thing. If we end up able to find some observations right in here, this has unfortunately been kind of the sweet spot here, just north of the Naval Air Station and around Warrington, and so that's really a terrible area as far as the rain totals that we've seen. Pensacola NAS, Warrington, and then up towards Highway 98. Really heavy rain still ongoing right now, and it just coming down in sheets, and then you add the lightning element to it too, and that's adding to the power outages that we're seeing there in Pensacola and all over into the Baldwin County area. We can see some power outages because of the constant lightning that's just popping and firing out there. We get over on the Baldwin County side, and the rainfall rates are really a lot heavier where you have the darker reds and the colors here. County Road 87, County Road 32, County Road 64, Highway 98, the Beach Express, and Highway 59, Foley, and for us over towards Magnolia Springs. So far, this persistent band of rain has defied expectations. It's stayed continually over the same areas. It's been training, and we've not seen it push out over the Gulf like we'd hoped. And getting into Pensacola, we continue to get pictures that are coming in on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and some of those associated social media platforms that show the epic flooding that is still ongoing in the area. If you're just joining us, Pensacola is in a flash flood emergency, and that also is going to include a lot of the areas on the west side of Pensacola and the southwest side of Pensacola, including Warrington and Gulf Breeze, as well as Pensacola Beach. And that a flash flood emergency is a more significant situation by far than a flash flood warning. It means that flooding's ongoing, the potential for swift water rescues, that kind of thing around Pensacola. We're in team coverage here tonight on Fox 10 News, or early this morning, however you want to look at it. I'm here with meteorologist Nicholas Herbosa. A lot of people are probably joining us right now, Nick, that are in Baldwin County and are getting awakened by this epic lightning and thunder going on.
Yeah, I've seen some interesting comments on there because there's just so much lightning going on. I wanted to give a tour of who's in and who's out in terms of heavy rainfall. Who will experience heavy rainfall tonight and in through the early morning hours, and who will not. So all of this rainfall, this little blob, I have to turn off the lightning, there's too much of it. All of this blob is going to be drifting off to the southeast. Off to the southeast there. If I can draw an arrow correctly, let me do that really quickly. That is all going to be drifting off to the southeast. So, what areas are good for now? Where are we not seeing the redevelopment? Talking about areas like South Fairhope, Daphne, Spanish Fort, Stapleton, Bay Minette, Mobile, West Mobile, Grand Bay, Bayou La Battery, and so on. Those communities are not seeing rain. We are on air for a flash flood emergency, a very serious situation that is occurring in southern Escambia County, Florida. Southern Escambia County, Florida, where Pensacola is located. Also areas like Gulf Breeze, so southern Santa Rosa County, Florida as well. Also, central southern Baldwin County, talking areas just north of Foley, County Road 32, east of 59, dealing with heavy rain right now, the potential for flooding. Robertsdale has had heavy rain. It looks like rain is now stopping there, at least according to current radar trends. Also in Baldwin County, we are dealing with an extraordinary amount of lightning. This is now shifted. Earlier we had the lightning a little bit more towards like Daphne Robertsdale, and that has shifted now a little bit further to the east, getting closer and closer and closer and closer towards Pensacola. Pensacola, earlier tonight, 10, 11 o'clock, dealt with a ton of lightning, very loud lightning. And I've been told that it is very loud when you are under this lightning. Lightning strikes happening very, very close because there are so many, including what we call cloud-to-ground lightning strikes that are something that is actually striking the ground. A lot of stuff going on here. Who is in the threat for more rain? Well, sadly, it's the same places that have already existed, or already seen rain. Gulf Breeze, Pensacola, NAS Pensacola, Lillian, and I know there's plenty of rain going on there. Along 98 there, getting into Warrington, north of NAS Pensacola. It's just a really rough situation there. Downtown Pensacola, we are seeing periods of heavy rain, but nothing crazy just yet. The rain rates, as Jason mentioned, are not as high as they have been. Zooming out a little bit more, Gulf Breeze dealing with plenty of rain, and they're going to continue dealing with rain. So to review, Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, NAS Pensacola, Lillian, anywhere east of Alberta, continuing south. If you're on like Ono Island, now you're dealing with a lot of heavy rain down like Orange Beach area, but I don't think the flooding threat is anywhere near as it is in, say, Lillian or NAS Pensacola, West Pensacola, and Pensacola proper. Now, zooming out. I know that was a lot. We have this flash flooding threat that's continuing on, will continue for the next few hours here in Pensacola. I'm going to zoom way out, and we see this complex of thunderstorms off to our west. It is currently located, this is northern Louisiana, this is Shreveport, Alexandria right here. This area is going to be tracking towards us. Hattiesburg, you're going to get thunderstorms later today, and then Mobile. If you remember, I think it was a day or so ago, we had that little complex of severe thunderstorms that caused damage and rolled through our area very quickly. This is a very, very similar situation where we're going to have a complex of thunderstorms. Does it make it all the way here and hold together? I don't know. Our atmosphere is getting pretty sucked up by all of these thunderstorms that are there, but there is a lot of instability. So this complex of storms will make its way towards our area. We have this complex of storms that is continuing to redevelop and then slowly drift south. All of this is existing along a stationary boundary that is not the right color, a stationary boundary that is oriented along pretty much that same position. And that's the track. That's what we're expecting in the next few hours. So just a little kind of reset on what's going on. Tomorrow, we will have a thunderstorm threat. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch tomorrow. Right now, at least, and continuing until tomorrow, until that complex of storms gets to our area. It's an active weather situation, and you're going to need to stay up to date on what's going on. You're going to want to get that Fox 10 weather app and have it with you and have the alerts on all day today, especially if you're in Pensacola right now, because we could have more flooding if this thunderstorm complex actually does make its way towards our area. So I know that was kind of a fast-paced review, and it's at 2:23 in the morning, but there is a lot going on, and a lot that we're going to be breaking down in the coming 12 hours or so to 24 hours here on Fox 10. It's going to be a busy day for us for sure. So zooming back in to our area, Jason, a lot of stuff going on.
Sure is, and meteorologist Michael White's going to be joining us with coverage here, and he's going to be taking over as we get into our morning show here soon. We are looking at a real high reflectivity rate in Baldwin County. Just wanted to check this with our hail tracker real quick and see if we have any possible hail going on. It may just be water loaded and be really heavy rainfall, but there may be some hail mixed in, and it is showing up right there south of Seminole. So if you're between Lillian and Seminole on the west side of the Perdido Bay Bay Area. You may have some small hail mixed in, and if not, it is extraordinarily heavy rain going on. The pixels here really dark right there near the Blackwater River here, just over on the east side of County Road 87. We got some extremely heavy rainfall, possibly some small hail, and the cloud tops are definitely tall enough with that drier air aloft for there to be some hail, and that's one of the ingredients for the lightning too. And the concentration of lightning around that high level of reflectivity here, amazing lightning strikes going on in this area between north of Alberta, around Lillian, south of Seminole, and south of Elsinore here. The lightning is just off the charts with what's happening there. And in Pensacola, we do have rain still falling heavily in an area that's in a flash flood emergency, and that's going to continue here as we look at it. We got some rainfall reports saying it looks like Loxley around 2.5, 3 inches. Brownsville in parts of Pensacola, on the west side of Pensacola, had around 7 inches of rainfall. Looks like the Gonzales area about 4.5 inches of rain. Doppler radar estimated about a foot of rain around Pensacola, and it's still adding up here late tonight. And we've got an ominous sign here with this core of heavy lightning here over Lillian that's really still affecting in a big way the west side of Pensacola. Now, if you look at this long loop, you may start to notice that the heaviest stuff is starting to pull over into Baldwin County, shifting a little further south and a little further west, and that may begin to be the beginning of some hope for Pensacola. The colors over Pensacola right now are yellow and orange, so they're not as intense as what was going on earlier. The problem with flash flooding, though, is a lot of that is still beginning to get into the watersheds of these creeks and streams, and so the flooding threat is going to be really slow to subside. It may actually get worse before it gets better, and even if the rain was to completely shut off right this minute, which it's not doing, it's still rolling on. So this has been another extended update here on Fox 10 News in the middle of the night. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith here with meteorologist Nicholas Herboso. We're keeping an eye on Baldwin County here tonight, but also Pensacola, and watching out for any severe weather that develops, and of course the flooding too. And we'll have complete coverage on our morning show tomorrow, or this morning, at 4:30 a.m. here on Fox 10.